And we're live. Tony, welcome back. A little bit of a short hiatus because we're adults here and we all have lives and shit. But a lot has happened between our second show and our third show here today on the one and only Sizzle Sports Talk Radio Show. So, Tony, just to catch up on the week, let me get your reactions as I pack this bowl in anticipation for Stone Cold Happy Hour. Let me get your reactions to Joe Shiesty coming in and saving us all from the Mahomes family in general, and Matty Stafford. And Matty Stafford. Matty Stafford getting his due. And that.
Whose house?
No.
House, baby.
All right. Well, that's a Marshall Faulk jersey. I love the jersey you're wearing, the Edge. You know, any Miami player that you can wear. But let me get your reactions, T. T, what did you think about the weekend that was in the NFL before we get to the shitty part of the NFL?
Well, first of all, yes. There are some shitty parts of the NFL. Some for you probably wouldn't like. With one that we definitely both don't like. But we'll get into that in our deep dive. But honestly, this weekend has been absolutely amazing. I mean, great football all around. You had the first with the Kansas City Chiefs pretty much just choking the game away against the Cincinnati Bengals.
It looked over.
And choking it away like you did back in week 17 to the Bengals, and knowing the fact that you had a guy in Patrick Mahomes that just was eating them up in the first half and then just went completely stone cold.
Yeah,
it was bad. Yeah,
but they're showing, you know, so I will say this about the Chiefs, right? Obviously, the Chiefs are insanely stacked. They have a lot of talent on the offensive and really the defensive end. You know, don't sleep on Honey Badger. Don't sleep on Chris Jones, who's an absolute world beater. But they show streakiness. Like, they are a good team every game for a half. Like, that's basically what they've become. They're good for the first half, where they get out to this huge lead and then they choke it away in the second. That's who they are becoming. Am I wrong?
I mean, when it comes to these teams that they should be able to beat, then I can understand you seeing that bit of streakiness within them. But mind you, this was one of those games where you looked at it going like, okay, they should be getting this win here. I mean, at this point, you had the offense just completely go nowhere. Tyreek Hill didn't even record a catch within the second half.
Yep. Yeah, and he was shut down.
At that point, you had Mahomes throwing 2 picks. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I honestly got to say, like, if you would end up grading both halves between Patrick Mahomes from his first half to the second half, you had a first half of at least an A-, and then you had a second half of at least a D.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
It was bad. And, you know, I don't want to take anything away from Joe Burr, from Joe Burrow, from Joe Shiesty, all of the nicknames.
Joey Drip.
Yeah, so we'll get into it a little bit more in our Down to Business block. On the other end, Tony, we're also talking about a Matthew Stafford who's getting his shot, and then the 49ers are finally just being transparent that, we're getting rid of Jimmy G. He's a goner. Like, Jimmy G just got out right in front, like, still toweling off from the shower, basically, and he's just like, I'm on my way out. I'm out of here. Okay. Yep. It's a good shower, though. Yeah, they have great showers here at Levi Stadium.
I mean, at this point, he was literally being the SpongeBob meme as soon as he threw that final interception. He's like, all right, I'm going to head out of here.
Yeah, right?
No.
Right. Like, so we'll get into that. And then, you know, obviously we'll get into our picks and what we think the game is going to be. I do want to ask you and go into more depth. Don't answer this yet. Are we watching NFL, NHL, All-Star weekends? Like, are those even really watchable anymore? And we'll go into the NHL has a couple of new games. there's not going to be a middle ground with them. They're either going to be awful or we're going to really enjoy them. And then I know we talked about this like the last show, but like the NBA dunk contest definitely deserves a time for bed, right? Yeah, time for bed. And then, you know, we're halfway through the NHL on ESPN TNT. I want your thoughts on anything that, you know, if you think it's a success or not. So we'll start with, are you watching the NHL and NBA All-Star weekends? Like, are you doing it?
Look, if for some reason I feel like I'm bored and I really have nothing to do and my video game is not actually turning on, and I literally just confined to my house and it starts snowing again, and I feel like I know I can get out anywhere and I know there's nothing else that's on TV.
You might put it on.
Maybe.
Might, like a
I
might,
might put it on,
like a serious might.
Listen, Chuck, that's just terrible, man. I'm sorry, but like, there are certain like tricks that you know, the guys in the NHL tend to be able to perform. You know, some like good stunt stuff that you tend to be able to see. But I'm sorry, like these games have no meaning to them. If they have no meaning to them, it's honestly useless for me.
Yeah, and
You know? So
and that just brings us right into the. I mean, like I'll check out probably the skills stuff, right? That's somewhat fun. You know, I can get on base with that. But I don't know. They have a new one for the NHL. I'm definitely not watching any of the games. All the games suck now. Like that's just a fact. Like they just do not care. The 3-on-3 is fun
kind of scenario there.
Yeah, but we have that in overtime now. Like it's not something outside of the game. I think they need to just like literally just go to ponds. Like I know they do outdoor games and shit. I think the NHL needs to have like an all-star game that is truly like a shinny type. Like you have lines of guys in like just sweatpants, like and hoodies with just gloves and sticks, like playing shinny out in the ice. Like that I would watch every single year. Every single year I would watch that. But
it's not too bad.
Yeah, no, I like you could do that at a million different places. Like all you'd have to go up to is like the coldest place, like in Edmonton or something in Alberta.
Yeah, so in Vancouver, they could be able to do something with that.
Yeah, so we're when neither of us are watching it, we might watch like the skills competition, NBA dunk contest. Is it time to take a break from that again?
It's not the fact that it needs to be able to take a break. It's just it needs the stars to be able to do it.
But how do you get them to join?
Got to have a better incentive, maybe. I mean, mind you, a lot of them they're not doing it based on the fact of. I mean, honestly, it really did start with LeBron James, considering that once he was out of it, man.
I mean, like
nobody wanted that smoke.
Before him, like Vince Carter did it. I mean, Dwight Howard did it, but even like Dwight Howard was part of that.
Kobe Bryant did it for
right,
God's
Kobe.
sakes.
Like I feel like there's got to be like, right, yeah, obviously. I feel like there's got to be. Is this where you get I forget what it's called in the PGA Tour, but like the impact player, right, or social media impact player? Do you by chance like I don't know have a required like? If you make this much, like you're expected to, for at least 2 or 3 years, like you have to put in like 2 years of service or something. If you have this much of a star power in the NBA,
the union will never be able to accept that. There's no way that Chris
if this
Paul
was the MLB or the NFL, they would force that shit through.
Man, NFL, you have no pull.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I want to say I want to watch the dunk competition, but I don't want to watch Obi Toppin. Like, is Cole Anthony really like is he really someone we want to watch in the dunk competition?
God, I can barely be able to remember who the hell is in this shit anymore.
He's a North Carolina player, by the way. You should be like pumped. Cole Anthony.
I'm just saying, like that's fantastic, cool, yay! Like we got somebody in the dunk competition who's from like the team that I like to be able to cheer for. That's cool, but mind you, Who else?
Yeah, no,
Who the
I
fuck
don't even.
else?
Was it Jalen Green from Houston? Like a reject Alpha Chris Baltz? Like, I and then I don't even know Cole Anthony, Obi Toppin. I couldn't even tell you the fourth guy. I just
That's
saw
how
it today. I
useless
just
this
saw it
is.
today. I just
That's
saw it
how
today.
useless it is.
So, and then halfway through NHL and ESPN TNT, I don't know how many games you've caught. TNT to me very much feels like NBC just repackaged, although Biz being on it really does help a lot. I feel like he brings a lot of personality, and his social media presence is just fantastic. But I don't know if you've caught any of the ESPN. It is getting that like old school ESPN vibe, which I do love. But have you caught any of the games on either TNT or ESPN? What are your thoughts?
I've caught a few from TNT. I think I've honestly like I've seen like some stuff from probably a couple of Bruins games from ESPN. Like I've seen
Yeah.
some highlights and that stuff. It just really hasn't seen. I haven't really seen like the real like transparency or like what was better from NBC in accordance to ESPN. Like as far as on my take, usually again I tend to be able to look at the local stuff. So,
Yeah.
but I would probably say if anything, it's not bad. You know, it's definitely not like bearable, like unbearable to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's fair. That's fair. All right. So when we get down to the business topics, obviously we're going to talk Brady retirement. I will give you literally on the clock 3 minutes of hate. So stay tuned. Tony's 3 minutes of hate. You have to say one good thing about Brady, though. I got a stopwatch here. I got a
I was gonna
stopwatch.
say I'm ready. I got it ready to go.
I'm gonna
Like,
be on you, but you do have to say like one good thing about the greatest of all time at the end of it. Just saying. One thing. You get 3 minutes of hate, just one thing. And it can be anything. You can just be like, the dimple chin, love it. Um, I'm going to ask you, and we're going to talk about who's more likable and possibly the most likable um, Super Bowl of all time. Matt Stafford, Joe Shiesty. And then we'll touch on is the Tuca experiment proving to be a mistake? Jeremy Swayman back up already with the big club after like only 2 starts in Providence. And then should the Celtics break up Tatum and Brown? And then through all that, if we have time, I'll let you get some MMA in if you have anything. All right, so let's reset the clock. Zero's on the clock. Tony, are you ready for your 3 minutes of Brady hate?
absolutely.
You ready? On your mark, get set, go.
By the age of 12, I've had to be able to witness this man pretty much be the bane of my fucking existence. I have honestly, it's been the most shittiest 22 months that I have seen in my life. 22 years that I have had in my life. And now that it is all over, the fact that his wife decided, you know what, hey, Tom,
We're
you
done.
gotta be able to hang it up, my friend. It's you know what they're doing to you? They're making you like a fucking fool. It is over. And he finally decided to be able to hang him up. My man, I thought it was a dream. I honestly thought that this was just something, a false sense of reality, if you will, a genjutsu. I honestly thought it was just a complete and utter dud. But then it started rolling around. The rumors started to be able to crumble. And I'm like, you know what? It's finally happened. It's finally happened. He's gone. He is gone. This man is finally gone. But I then thought of, you know what? He might pull a Brett Favre. He might say, you know what? He might end up trying to be able to come back. You know what? He wouldn't do that to himself. He wouldn't put that kind of situation on himself. So you know what? It made me feel fucking happy as hell to see him gone. To be able to actually know that there are Pats fans crying about the fact that he is not only gone, but he didn't even be able to mention him in his retirement fucking Instagram post. The sad, sappy, fucking obnoxious Pats fans that have been an absolute boil on my ass for 22 years are finally getting the, oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean you guys. I mean the Bucks fans. I meant the
1 minute
Bucks fans,
warning.
not that. How many?
1 minute warning.
1 minute warning. Fantastic.
1 minute remaining in the period.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna end this on this. I am happy about the fact that he's finally calling it quits, to be able to see what the new generation can be able to really do, and to be able to cast on a legacy that he has held for well over 3 decades. He's been a part of 3 decades, and he has had a lasting legacy. But I will be able to say, with the bottom of my heart, happy retirement. Go fuck yourself and enjoy your fucking TV brand.
And there it is. Well done. Well timed as well. Hit it right on the mark. But you got to say now, you got to say one nice thing, one good thing about Brady.
I did.
No. One more. Like, acknowledge a record or two here.
Oh, for fuck's sake. He has almost damn near all of them. I'm not acknowledging his records. Fuck that. I will say one thing. I will say one thing before I end up getting into it. He had a competitive drive like no other.
Yeah, he was like Jordan.
All right, I will give you that.
Except he had a competitive drive
like no other. However, is he a petty motherfucker? You're goddamn right he is. Is he somebody who kisses boys openly in the mouth? You're goddamn right.
All right. That's a family thing.
I had to throw it one more.
That's a family thing. That's off limits. You know, we don't judge what other people do in their families. I mean, but like, it is the end of an era. I am not nearly as butthurt as other Patriots fans have been. I honestly think, you mentioned Brett Favre, and I know Brett Favre came back. I don't think Tom Brady's gonna pull a Brett Favre. I don't think he's gonna like come back. But what I will say is I think he will be a Brett Favre where we're not going to see him back at Fenway for like 5 years. It's going to take a bit for those wounds to heal, for Bill Belichick's going to have to I have a feeling that it's basically just going to take both of them retiring before they're able to have that reminiscence about shit. You know, I think Tom Brady's going to start doing other stuff. He's going to miss football. Bill Belichick at some point is going to retire. But I think ultimately once they both are retired, their careers are done and over with, there will be that reminiscence that, you know, is what it is. And we'll all be able to enjoy it. We'll get that Ring of Honor ceremony at Gillette Stadium. That will probably happen this year. But like Bill Belichick will do the same thing. We'll quick hug on the sideline and then like talk to him longer in the, like, there's still that like competitive, like they still are both in that headset. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I am just choosing as a Patriots fan to bask in, wow, holy shit, that was amazing. Because I still remember, you know, being the age I am, really the first Super Bowl year, and then the lean years, I was probably too young. I remember a lot more hockey well before like the Super Bowl year for the Patriots. But, you know, we went through some lean times, definitely went through some lean times with the Bruins and Celtics and Red Sox. But it's just insane having played the game, knowing what it takes on you to see a guy do what he did. I mean, it's just insane. And you can only, like, if you're a Patriots fan, you're really that butthurt, just take a second and realize we had the greatest dynasty in all of sports for a very long time, for 20 years. So the guy didn't mention us in a fucking Instagram post. Let's not give social media any more credence than it already needs.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You guys had the Pats had the opportunity to be able to get that swan song for all the Pats fans. Could have signed him.
Could have signed
2019.
Him. Absolutely could have signed him.
And you decided, hey, go off and do whatever you want to do. So guess what?
Could have cleared the cap room. Could have found it. And could have gotten him back in the room. And he could have retired in a Patriots uniform. But hurt feelings. won out in the end. So let's not, as a fan base, allow our hurt feelings to win out in the end. That's my big message to Patriots Nation. Don't let an Instagram post ruin your fucking day. Just don't.
Mind you, it
Just
is
don't.
going to be something that is going to live with Tom throughout the remainder of his life. It really will.
But you got to come like look at it from his perspective. So what? Spygate's always going to be there. Deflategate's always going to be there. Like all of these things are always going to be there because the Patriots were such a dynasty and they did things that pushed the limits of what was acceptable. I mean, people forget that Spygate. Other teams are doing the exact same things that the Patriots are doing, and Eric Mangini just was butthurt about Bill Belichick like destroying their tapes from the year before. And it was about like where you could film, not that you could film. And then Deflategate was just ridiculous all on its own. So there's a lot there that ultimately will be remembered, but I don't know if it's really all that justified.
The only reason, before I know that we got to get into the next one, but the only reason why I mentioned that this is something that will last a long, all the Spygate, all of the Deflategate, and all of those situations, you as Pats fans were backing him up. This statement right here, having nothing to be able to say with any part of the Patriots Nation whatsoever, even though, he said what he said back in 2019 after you kept stepping to the door. Sorry, that's going to definitely irk a lot of people. So
yeah, I understand. I just want Patriots Nation to understand exactly how good we had it for a little bit, just for a little bit. Mm-hmm. So Tony, I do. Well, I will give you. You already kind of had your final fuck you, so we'll move on.
Oh, I'm done. I'm
yeah.
done with this.
All right.
So he can just go off and retire.
So who's more likable coming into the Super Bowl? Joe Burr, Joey Football? By the way, like when he ran out for, I think it was a senior night at LSU with the Burrow with the EAUX on the back, like this kid not only like is a gamer, he knows fucking marketing. Him or Matt Stafford, who languished for years as a great QB in Detroit. Who's more likable in your? I have my answer, but I'm interested in yours.
Well, when it comes to Matthew Stafford, I mean, we've seen what this man can be able to do with an absolutely terrible team within the Detroit Lions. I mean, this man has overcome a lot of situations where he was the one that was leading his team. I remember when, a lot of people tend to be able to do so. He separated his shoulder while throwing a pass, which at this point was going to be 1-yard line because it was a pass interference. And he's like, you know what? No, I got that. I could be able to get back in because they ended up calling a timeout. So he in throwing the game-winning touchdown. You're looking at this, I'm like, man, this guy's got a lot of fucking heart.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be able to go against somebody like that. Yep. Where you have somebody in Joe Burrow, guy that definitely he's got a lot of heart. 9 sacks in a divisional game. First person to ever take that many sacks and win since Donovan McNabb, and still pulls off the win over Tennessee. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And he's got hard to choose between the two.
And he's got the drip, so like it's also like a tale of two very different people, right? Like Joe Burrow walking in with the Nike diamond, like looking like the Rock and just drip for days. And then like Matt Stafford, you see him out and about and you're just like, hey, you going to Home Depot this weekend? Like, yeah, you going to have some beers? You guys want to go play around, hit the Home Depot for the weekend, get some yard work done? Yeah. Yeah. Like he's got the least punchable face. So like it's not just like we have two likable guys as quarterbacks for the two Super Bowl teams playing. Not only is it that, but it's two guys that are actually drastically different in that regard. Like the reason why they're likable is drastically different. Joe Burrow's finding this success super early in his career, right? Second year in the league. And then senior year at like LSU having a Heisman year, winning the national championship, and then like recovering from an ACL injury, like from his, I mean, just like stupid, insane, instant like success here in the NFL, getting to the Super Bowl. And Matt Stafford took a decade to get here as a Pro Bowl QB up in Detroit. It's just so many, like, just two drastically different stories, and I'm so looking forward to it. Um, and we'll get into it now before we move on to our next topic. Who is your pick? Who is lifting that Lombardi Trophy and taking it from
Oh
Roger
man,
Goodell?
this is a hard situation. But I have, of course, we have the Rams here with Marshall Falk, of course, and we got Calvin Johnson
Fuck
before the
Marshall
Ocho
Falk.
Cinco scenario here. I mean, mind you, this is a hard one to be able to choose. It really is, because honestly, if it ended up winning, I'm still happy, because you know what? It still will be a fantastic football game. So honestly, if I have to make a selection, I'm going with the Rams.
Yeah,
I'm thinking that the Rams have, I feel like the Rams have the better overall team to be able to take out the Bengals. And I honestly
yeah,
see it, considering the fact that you have two killers in Aaron Donald and
yeah,
Von Miller going after Joey
yeah,
Buckets.
yeah. That's
That is
I
that is going to be a big game breaker for the LA Rams. It
Yeah,
really will.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think Joey Burrow is going to be running for his life. I mean, he did escape Chris Jones in that AFC Championship game with the high step. That was amazing. Chris Jones is not someone you get away from very often.
He was
Um,
burning Frank Clark too.
oh my god,
Don't forget about Frank Clark.
yeah, sticking the ball out there, getting the first down. I mean, but Aaron Donald and Von Miller. So that's, I think, the big thing, right? Like, Chris Jones comes up the middle, but you didn't have someone on the outside that could contain Joe Burrow. When you watch the LA Rams, like, I think Von Miller, one of the reasons why he's found a resurgence in LA is because he can just sprint upfield and he doesn't matter. He doesn't have to worry about contain and having the quarterback slip underneath, because he knows that there's going to be no time if that quarterback steps up with Aaron Donald in the middle. Like, I think that's a huge asset to Aaron Donald and Von Miller. They can play off each other so well. Now, that being said, if the Bengals get either a halfway decent O-line coach or draft well at the O-line the next couple of years and get a couple of studs, like a couple of guys that can coach up at that position, because that's probably the position in the NFL that you can coach up the most, get guys in late rounds, but that you can coach them up in your system, and as long as they execute, they'll be great. I think we've seen that for years in New England, and that's what Mike Shanahan used to do, right? Mark Schlereth was not a high draft pick, and like that zone read offense, like you took athletic guys who weren't high draft picks and made them look like all pro linemen. But I think I fear that Joe Burrow like gets hurt in this game, because he's going to be hit so often.
So their center. I usually tend to be able to take a look at PFF a lot. He's ranked 33 out of 34 active centers.
That's not good.
He is trash, and
Not
he's
good.
gonna have to go against Aaron fucking Donald.
Yeah. And like it's like, dude,
Good luck.
it's gonna be bad. Like, and that's the guy that calls the center. Like, having played center, like that's your most important guy on the O line is your center. Like, that is your de facto like quarterback for the line. Stupid, insane stuff. Like, it could get real ugly real quick if they're able to get to him. Much like Cam Newton don't go after the fumble, and Peyton Manning, you only have to pass for like 111 yards to win this Super Bowl. Just keep handing the ball off, and Von Miller will take care of things for you. Like, it might end up being similar to that. Like, Matty Stafford, I know it took you a while to get here, but you just keep handing it off to Cam Akers and Shoney Michelle, and we'll be good. We'll be fine. So, I agree with you. LA Rams are gonna win, and I think it's not close. I think it's by 10. I do not want that to happen. This is one of those situations I want to be wrong. I want this to be a 27-24 Joe Burrow last second like game winning drive win for the Bengals. I just I don't see Aaron Donald and Von Miller are on one right now to where Jalen Ramsey, like, I don't think Jalen Ramsey's looked good, but I don't think it's mattered that much when they're getting the pressure that they're getting. So we'll move on to touch on a little bit of hockey. I just want to ask you, well, I think the Tuukka experiment should be over at this point. I think he needs to get shut down for the rest of the year, and they just cut their losses and go with Swayman and Ullmark, and I hope Swayman comes out on top. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, T.
Honestly, I actually do, because I have been seeing a couple of his games, and the ones that he actually did get a chance to start in.
He looks behind the play. He looks slow.
Yeah. So I'm looking at like this is not the Tuukka that I've been able to see from the past few years, and I honestly do think that those injuries are starting to really take a toll on him. So
yeah,
honestly,
especially with the hip injury is a death knell. It used to be the death knell for goalies,
and you need that. You definitely need that. You need that kind of mobility.
Yep. I mean, that's
of course you would know, being a goalie.
That was the career resurgence for Tim Thomas. Was there's a specific type of, I don't think I think Tuukka's was a repairing of, was it the labrum? I don't know. But there's a specific hip surgery that even Pekka Rinne extended his career by like 3 or 4 years by getting, where basically like they like cut a tendon, I forget what it is, or like they cut something where it like basically loosens like whatever your hip flexor is. Like they basically cut something so you can get back into that position. I can't imagine it's super healthy for the actual joint, but long term. But it like there is that surgery that helped extend already one Bruins career in Timmy Thomas and got them into Stanley Cup in 2011. But I don't know. I think it needs to be over. And then I want to give you a chance before we get into the deep dive to answer one question. Should the Celtics break up Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum? And then you can go right into if you have any MMA thoughts.
Yes. So when it comes to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I mean, Jaylen Brown has already kind of made his remarks stating that he wants to be able to get a trade. He does want to request a trade, if anything, after the season's over.
It was worded as like, if that was to happen, I would like I give myself this tribute.
I volunteer. Yeah, like you're saying, like, all right, yeah, if this is gonna happen, just let it be me. All right.
Yeah.
So if that's honestly really the case, and that's the way you really want to be about it, then you know what? Yeah, you got to break them up then. You can't have that type of morale. And I understand if he's thinking smart about this, because he understands that, you know what, it's not working here. I'll fall on the sword, and I will volunteer myself to be able to send myself out of there. But all I'm saying is that
he's got a very tradable. He's got a very tradable It's not a max deal, is it? He's like just below a max.
Jaylen Brown does not have a max.
Right. So I think like if you remove Smart and then Brown in the summer, then you're just building around Tatum. Like then it's just like, all right, who plays the best with Tatum? Period. Mm-hmm. What's going on? Do you know? Do you have any thoughts about the MMA world that I am just blatantly not or familiar with?
Look, they had UFC 270 with Francis Ngannou actually winning via decision, which is very rare, because usually he tends to be able to just throws one uppercut, you're pretty much done. Your lights are out. Now he's taking some time off, and it's actually bringing up an actual antitrust lawsuit with the UFC. So this is something that is definitely going to be becoming very interesting, because this is something that has been plugging away through the UFC since 2016.
Oh,
so it's definitely some interesting times going around in the MMA world.
Yeah, we'll have to follow up with that on the next show. So I do want to take a quick break. We'll be going into our deep dive, and I mean the biggest thing going on in sports, and probably the most important thing going on in sports right now, is the Brian Flores lawsuit against the NFL, the Giants, Dolphins, and John Elway's Denver Broncos. So we'll just reset right here, and we'll be going into that. do some like once we get a producer like all right,
Like a
serious
little
business.
jazz.
Here with it, yeah, it's like the Adam Jones. Give me some jazz flute. Give it a walk. All right, let's get into this deep dive here. Tony, I want to make sure, especially to give you some ample time with this. So just give me, from your perspective, someone who's played, for 3 years of collegiate football, seen even at the D3 level, like, we saw some bullshit go on. It's really good old boy fucking sport. And at least at like the executive coach, manager, executive level. So, Brian Flores is really, he's really brave. He's obviously brave, all of those things, courageous for doing this. He's obviously basically ruining his career. But for someone who's played the sport, loves the sport, how big is this that Brian Flores is taking the stand finally?
It's ridiculous. I can't even be able to put into words how big this is for the sport. And honestly, I want to be able to give you some statistics here.
Yep.
Of course, we already know Mike Tomlin is the only black head coach in the NFL right now, which of course that makes up about 3.7% of all the coaches. Ever since that Rooney Rule took into effect back in 2003, only 15 out of 129 coaching vacancies were filled by black people. That's less than 12%. That's like, you see those statistics and you realize this is 19 years into the making. This is something that you need to be able to have some type of progression.
Yeah.
And yet still, you have a quarter of the league that haven't even had a black coach. You have the Cowboys, you have the Giants, Patriots, Jaguars, Rams, Titans, Saints, and surprisingly to me, not gonna lie, the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, the Atlanta Falcons should definitely.
You have the biggest African American fan base that you could be able to have right there in the Georgia Dome, and you haven't hired one black coach. And you honestly think out of the 35 to 40% of actual black coaches that are assistants, that they could not be potentials for a vacancy? It's only these 15 coaches out of the 129 vacancies. It's sad. It's pathetic. And it sucks knowing the fact that you have a good coach in Brian Flores, who literally took his team to 2 winning seasons
in a row with Tua Tagovailoa as a QB,
with Tua as his quarterback, while the owners are telling him to be able to tank more games.
Yeah,
like you've already tried to set this man up for failure.
Yep.
Like how sad is it to be able to know that you can't even really be able to know that you're getting a job, and you have somebody else telling you that you already got the job. I'm sorry to be able to step on toes here, but when Bill Belichick told Brian Flores that he got the job for the Giants, and it wasn't him, and it was Brian DeBall who ended up getting it.
Yeah.
How fucking sad is that?
Oh, it's sad. And then, I wasn't going to bring this up, and when, listening to 98.5, they brought up some good points, and it's time to take a good look at internally at the Patriots, right? Because you mentioned the Patriots are a team that have never hired a black coach. And on 98.5, they brought up something that's really, straight up fucked up. So, he started with Romeo Cornell and Charlie Weiss as his 2 offensive and defensive coordinators. And it went from Bill Parcells to Pete Carroll, at least in my era, Pete Carroll, then Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's now hiring his kids. And, McDaniels, Bill O'Brien all got to coordinator roles, right? Not former players, not guys that even played within the system. And you're telling me that Brian Flores and Gerard Mayo can't get a coordinator fucking role? I mean, it's a sham that Flores went from linebackers coach to head coach. Like, that should have been two defensive coordinator. He was calling the plays for the Patriots, and he was damn good at it. And
Right.
to tell me that you couldn't give him the coordinator role at some point, and that your dumbass mulleted kid is calling plays over Gerard Mayo, who literally was an all-pro fucking middle linebacker who called the plays on the field for you. I mean, we're talking
Sorry, I just
about
channeled my inner Stephen Belichick there. My bad.
right, yeah, like that fucking. I can't stand seeing him on the sideline. I can't stand it. You know why? Because I know he knows, like, oh, the camera's on me. I got to look a certain way. Like, yeah, man, I'm really into this. Like, no, it's a fucking act. Oh, Jesus, man. It just, and he's obviously got a lip in. Like, he's got that, like, that, I don't know, man. I just hate seeing it. I just hate seeing it. And the Patriots are just as guilty because they're in the middle of this nepotism. They have a history of when a black coach gets to a certain level in his calling place, he can't get the coordinator position, but every white coach before him had. Like, so obviously it has been how Eric Bieniemy has never been a head coach anywhere. I mean, like Byron Leftwich, how he hasn't been in consideration after working with
I was
Brady.
about to say, where the hell is Byron Leftwich?
I mean, unless the
Like,
Buccaneers are just like, stick around, man. Like, Arians is on his way out. That could be.
Now, I mind you, Ryan Poles, who is the Bears' new general manager,
Right. That's.
and
But
Matt Ellerbus.
Brian Flores would have been a great coach in Chicago. Brian Flores would have fit Chicago. So I was shocked.
100%.
You could have had a black GM and a black head coach that is a defensive coach that embodies what the Chicago Bears are about. That should have been a home run.
The only problem is they got that in that man, Matt Ellerbus. But you know the only problem is? He sounds like a fucking moron.
Oh my God.
He sounds like an absolute moron.
Well, I watched some of their press
conferences. I'm sorry to interrupt you, man.
No,
I listened to both of their press conferences. Ryan Poles and Matt Ellerbus, they both need to go. You can already tell that there was George McCaskey fucking signing on to these dumb shits. They don't know what the fuck they're gonna do.
The thing I remember the most was, like, obviously Daboll, like, all the new coaches, like, aren't reading. They were reading off of like a paper. And I was like, all right, wait, you can't just like ad lib with the press. Like, you're already at that level. Like, you have to read off of a paper.
Campbell was gonna bite up faster than the kneecaps.
Oh my God.
Like, that was dumb as it was. But mind you, this man has a HITS philosophy. Get that shit the fuck out of here, man.
Well, it's like
so fucking dumb.
It's like the high school lifting program, bigger, faster, stronger. Like, okay, that's the name of the program. Yeah,
Dude, the man says we're gonna take the North. What is it, Game of fucking Thrones? What the fuck are you talking about?
Winter is coming. But
it's not gonna be about the Bears postseason.
I mean, and if you give Brian Flores with like a decent offensive coordinator with Justin Fields, like, I feel like he would have had success. Just a hunch. But, so between this, Colin Kaepernick being pretty obviously blackballed, I mean, even to this day, right? Let's mention Jake Fromm still has a job in the NFL, and they didn't feel safe enough to run a passing play on 3rd and 9 from the 4-yard line. Like, they ran wedge. I think we talked about this in the last show. Wedge. They ran wedge. They ran double wing wedge. And you're telling me Colin Kaepernick can't get a job still? Like, he's obviously blackballed. Like, Colin Kaepernick could at least like be a coherent quarterback to drop back, and then if he got pressure, he wouldn't take the safety, he'd throw the ball away, right? And you run quick out so that you can just launch it from the pocket and there's a receiver in the area. Jake Fromm has a job, and mind you, this is the racist Giants who were like, yeah, we'll just, and then, so part of this is, who looks worse, right? Because I will believe, I know they both came out, the Giants and Broncos came out like, this is demonstrative, this is BS, we would never do this, we're men of character. Like, your football people, shut up, you all suck. Like,
Such bullshit.
like, like the
Like,
whole like mystique of like football character, like, yeah, let's stop being naive about that kind of shit. Um, but they come out and they vehemently deny it, all this stuff. I absolutely believe what happened. I mean, obviously, like the Giants thing is proven. Like those text messages
right.
from Bill Belichick, damning as all hell. I absolutely
Yep.
believe that, like John Elway, like that they again for the Rooney Rule had to. They already, yep, this is our guy, Nick Fangio. Like, but we still gotta talk to Brian Flores. He's gonna be our Rooney Rule guy. Yeah, it's fine. You know, we have the interview with Brian Flores, but we're not going to hire him anyways. So they have a few more whiskeys than they really should have. Like, yeah, that happened. Like, I know executives that are even worse than that. Like, those guys do that kind of shit. That's what they do, especially in the off season. So
I'm sorry, you're not gonna sit there with a straight face and you're really going to tell me that when John Fox was ended up getting hired from the Carolina Panthers, that Marvin Lewis was not a better candidate for that.
right, right,
And the fact that they literally did that to Marvin Lewis too is another prime example of what you actually end up doing around here.
yeah,
Like, I'm sorry, like there are way too many decent fucking coaches that are African American that you can be able to put in these jobs. And lo and behold, guess what you're gonna see? More teams sucking because they have shitty fucking coaches.
yep. And let's not, because Hugh Jackson's getting into this, alleging the Browns, and he was well like 3-36-1, something like that. That was his record in Cleveland, and so Cleveland gets all these high draft picks. Obviously, they don't hit on a quarterback. I still don't think they have, but I think they did at the time with Baker Mayfield. But like Hugh Jackson took that fall. I mean, it was pretty obvious. Like Hugh Jackson was there to get good draft picks and to try and rebuild. And then like they brought in Kevin Stefanski, and it's like you have Nick Chubb and who are the fucking Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
You had OBJ, you had Jarvis Landry, you had David Njoku, you had a really good offensive line, you have Myles Garrett, like you have a good team out there in Cleveland. So like, was that Hugh Jackson just like, hey, we're gonna pay you a little extra, we'll throw you some money on the side to suck, and then you brought in a white coach to then be a success? Like, that team was built through Hugh Jackson, like getting them draft picks through losing.
Right.
Straight up.
And it's sad. It's sad to be able to that way. And you still gotta be able to look at it like this right now. There's only one. Only one black head coach this year. And it's only because, now mind you, Art Rooney, being the initiator of the Rooney Rule, is the one who literally just made sure that there was not going to be not a black coach within the organization. Now, mind you, Mike Tomlin has really kept his job because he's had all these damn winning seasons.
Yeah.
And of all the times that he's gone to the playoffs.
Well, yeah.
But I'm telling you, once that losing season's over, so is he.
Yeah, and you know, he had he had a Hall of Fame quarterback. We'll see what he does now in trying to develop from scratch, because Ben Roethlisberger won the first one with Cowher, I think, right? And so Tomlin's got the one. He had a Hall of Fame quarterback, as much of a, rapist he is. But
Ooh,
bye, Ben. Good riddance.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, bye.
I can't say allegedly either.
But I think Tomlin gets like a 5-year window, because the Steelers pride themselves more on consistent, because Tomlin's like only the third or fourth head coach in history. Like, so, the Steelers are that kind of team that it's going to take a lot for Mike Tomlin to lose his job. And Mike Tomlin's very much one of those coaches that's a great motivator, team builder in terms of like chemistry. He's not a great X's and O's guy. So as long as he has good coordinators like Todd Haley, like He'll be fine.
Hmm. I
But
think he's gone.
but I think like that's the only saving grace the NFL has at the moment is that he's really entrenched in there, and that's your only black coach. I don't know the 5 vacancies. Minnesota has been strongly linked to John Harbaugh, so let's really only consider it 4. NOLA should get a
Jim,
black.
actually. My apologies. Jim Harbaugh,
I say John Harbaugh.
not John. Yeah, you said John.
Um, so like, already we're losing a vacancy that could go to an African American coach. Um, so you're really down to 4. Like NOLA is an area at least that would like love an African American coach. Um, and I can't even really think of the other vacancies right now, but like it's got to
I need to
break
know
at some point. They're going to go backwards from last year to this year. They're going to.
who is in it. I need to know who is in Atlanta. Like dead ass. Who the hell is in Atlanta right now?
Atlanta has
Like,
It's got. I mean, Byron Leftwich would be a great like you. I think he would resurge Matt Ryan's career if you brought Byron Leftwich, because Byron Leftwich has had a lot of success with Tom Brady. They're very similar in how they play, like straight drop back quarterbacks that are your classic style but can get the job done, have a powerful arm, and can read defenses. That's who
mhm.
Matt Ryan is. Matty Ice before the 28-3 Super Bowl, which I don't know if anyone's
I'm
ever
sorry,
called
but
it
there's a new
Matty
Matty
Ice
Ice,
since
man.
then.
Unfortunately, he's out in LA. All right. There's no such thing as Matty Ice when it comes to fucking Matt Ryan no more. Fuck that. That belongs to
Yeah,
Matthew
yeah,
Stafford.
yeah.
You understand?
Matthew Stafford. Yeah, no, I
Matty
agree.
Ice.
I can jump on board with that. um, but I, it's so here. I'll say this because I had this written down as something where I wanted to bring up. Right, Deion Sanders has at a historically black college, Jackson State, started stealing 4 and 5-star recruits from FBS schools. Now, Brian Flores, with this lawsuit, I think it's pretty safe to say, unless there is real pushback against the NFL, he's done. Like that's it. He knows. Like he's said it. Like he's done in the NFL. This is it. You file a lawsuit like him, I mean, and John Gruden would actually be someone that should come to his aid and be like, I was the only one who's a racist asshole. Like, and that would, through his incredibility, he would be a credible source. I don't know. That's a weird thing, but I think I would love to see Brian Flores get a shot at one of those historically black colleges and start stealing recruits, and you get some real star power at those colleges at the college level, and you start challenging places like Alabama and the SEC, who a lot of those programs are run by white guys, and they're majority like black athletes. So you start getting black coaches starting to steal a lot of talent from the SEC, and you get historically black colleges start to challenge because they start getting talent and they start getting star power at their coaching positions. I mean, you're talking NILs now. Like Brian Flores could really facilitate that and stuff. Like he's used to agents and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be a win-win. That's a positive I like to take out of this, but there's very few positive things to be taken out of this. And that's a very big pipe. It's a very lofty pipe dream.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
Listen, when it comes to Brian Flores, it's definitely over when it comes to him in the NFL. I mean, he's going through this wholeheartedly, and it's gonna be hard pressed for him to be able to get a job.
Yeah.
And have the owners, them swallowing crow, to be able to say, no,
right.
no, we're not. We'll make sure you get this job here. No.
Yeah, no.
You're going against the system. You're going against the shield. You're going against the bigger top 1% that can be able to squash you like a bug.
And we've seen that they are petty as fuck.
Right. So if you honestly think that he can have a situation where he can be able to come out of this and be able to still get a job within the NFL, just look at Colin Kaepernick and try to be able to make a Netflix. You have no choice. You might as well help him with production on that.
Yep.
But I honestly can say I would not be mad at him going to an
HBCU.
Black college, man.
Yeah,
I would love it, man.
I think that's where honestly, because I don't, to say like get a competing league, like you had the old Negro leagues in baseball that challenged like the MLB in terms of like that stuff doesn't exist anymore. Like bottom lines and how entrenched the professional leagues are now, where you would really need to make a splash and where Deion Sanders has already paved a path is there in the college game, and getting those kids to believe that you should go to this school because it's run by people that are like you and not run by a pretty racist past like Alabama and a lot of those schools in the SEC. So that does
all
it.
over, man. It's
Yeah.
all over the place. Not even in the South. It's wherever
Yeah,
the
yeah.
money goes, my friend.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Follow the money, and there's
It's
a lot
not
of
about black or white. It's all about the green, and it's always will be.
Well, but those HBCUs, like, that's who the money is with, people who are, who look like the athletes that are playing there as well. So,
right.
And I'm saying to challenge, like, there's no way Alabama, Nick Saban's never not going to have success. Like, you're starting to steal some kids at specific positions, but Deion Sanders probably also can't develop like Nick Saban can. That's where a lot of that comes in too. But that's a pipe dream, and I think that's where I would love to see Brian Flores go, and I would love to see that become a thing and really challenge that status quo within the college game, which then I think would trickle upwards a little bit.
Yeah, you're right, and honestly, it would change out the college landscape and definitely be able to help out a lot.
Yeah. So, I'm very happy that Brian Flores stepped forward, and I'm excited to see the potential of what will happen, but the cynicism in me is not very hopeful.
I'm happy and pissed off at the same time.
Yep.
I'm happy at the fact that he actually is doing this, but I'm pissed off at the fact of what the result is going to be for him with this. He deserves to be a head coach.
Yeah.
He deserves to be my fucking head coach.
Yep, I agree with that.
Matt Elbers, whoever the fuck his name is.
It sounds like his last name sounds like his last name sounds like a spell from like Harry Potter. Elbrus.
No.
All right. Well, we're through the serious part, so we'll get into the Stone Cold Happy Hour for 20 minutes. I'm going to cap it off at 20 minutes if we make it there. It's starting to get late. Shout out to Derek Bird for popping in and listening to the podcast for a little bit. I've seen a couple of viewers, so apologies for any of the internet stuff. I will be calling Spectrum and probably upgrading yet again. They're just gonna keep stealing my money. But Tony, I am drinking a Pink Whitney with some seltzer in it. I have some left over from the weekend, so spitting chiclets. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. What are you drinking?
You know what? Fuck that.
Oh, he's getting the jack out again.
Out the bottle, my friend.
There you go, out the bottle.
Tomorrow.
All right. Well, cheers, my friend. Cheers. All right.
Old number 7.
So hopefully Jen is not within like my voice carries when I do this show, so she's gonna hear. So may have bought a new.
Should be screaming.
Wash the fucking dishes and shut the fuck up.
No. Dishes are done. I did the laundry before this too. She did fold, so I appreciate that. No, because I'm just gonna say, we're gonna get into some golf again. Bought a new 3-wood off of Sideline Swap.
Good on you.
Yeah, it's at Adams. I'm got a bump to try it.
Well, what's the brand?
Adams. I can send you the link at some point. But we got to find a weekend to hit up another golf spot.
Oh yeah. There is there's this the indoor spot that I usually tend to go to. Like I told you before, V Golf out in Cranston. By the way, shout out to V Golf. That definitely is one of the best spots to be able to go for indoor golfing.
We should try and do a show there.
Definitely too. Huh?
We should try and do a show there.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
shit.
should try that.
I mean, but regardless, Oh yes, yes. They actually were. They actually have coupons for um, discounts for golf courses
Oh no
all
shit.
throughout the New England area, like New Hampshire, Connecticut.
Oh, there's a bunch of those kind of pack. You mean in like once we get to the summer and stuff?
Yeah,
Are you using a match right now?
yes, sir.
Do you not have any lighters?
Of course, I have a lighter.
You just want to be fancy? You want to be old school?
Yes, sir.
Also, if Bird's still listening, we got to get you out there with us and Finkel. That'd be a good foursome to go out with.
True. And if not
Which-
Finkel, you'd still be able to invite 40.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe 40 instead of Finkel.
Oh,
Now that Finkel's got two
not,
kids.
not, not instead.
I mean, 40's got two
Only
kids
if he
too.
can. Because mind you, he has a new dad.
Yeah, well, new
got two
dad
kids, but
yet
hey.
again.
Older-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm excited for that new 3-wood to come in and give that a shot. I think it'll be good with, so like I'll go driver 3-wood, 2-iron, 3. I think though that might mean I have to, oh, let me count these out here. Driver, because you can only have 13 legally. My bag is usually never legal, and it's not like it's not like I'd ever play in a tournament that would check.
No.
So driver, 3-wood,
Mine definitely is not.
2-iron, 3-iron, 4-iron, 5-iron, 6-iron, 7-iron, 8-iron, 9-iron. Pitching wedge. Oh, I think I'd have to get one of my wedges. I'd have to get rid of one of my wedges. Ooh, that would be a tough decision, the 58 or the 54. Or do I get rid of the 2-iron? Or do I get rid of an iron in between? I feel like I could get rid of... If I learn how to hit that 2-iron off the deck, I could probably get rid of... Oh no, I don't have a 5-iron right now.
If you're not hitting the 2-iron off the deck, you should.
I should be... Not, well, you know, it's a
not
flatter
hitting it.
iron, man. Have you ever hit a 2-iron? You've never hit a
Of
2-iron.
course.
It's
I've
a
never hit a
driving
2-iron. I know I haven't hit a 2-iron. I'm just
It's a
saying, if you haven't, like, it's not, a shot you tend to be able to take, then don't have it in the bag. That's something to practice with.
Oh, hey, Bird coming in with a good text here. Mentioning if we need we need diversity in the owner group for real change, and that's spot on. Absolutely spot on. Absolutely dead on.
Yeah, there's no black owners at all.
Right. Yeah. 0% in that one.
Zero.
Yeah. No.
Imagine
Great
if you
point,
get
Bird.
0% of that, 70% of
Oh.
men who
Blurry
play
again.
football are African American.
Come on, camera, focus. The camera's now high because I blew smoke in it. So now it's out of focus. Come on, autofocus. Work. See, this is why I stay like in one plane.
Buddy.
Hold on. Come on, man. Oh.
I got a bit.
What was that?
Those jerseys look legit back there.
Yeah, we got the Conway ones. The 3. So that's I don't know. I fiddled around a little bit with the set before the show. I wish I had done more. There it is.
Getting there. Yeah.
I wish I had done more, but with the laundry and work and everything, might even like work on the pine tree reel a little bit tonight. But yeah. So got a little bit. The night got a little bit carried away. So it was like literally like I threw laundry on the bed. I was like, "Do you mind folding these?" And Jen was like, "Yep, I got it." And she's much faster than I am. So
Like, I gotta do a podcast. What the fuck?
yeah, right. Important things need to happen. But yeah. So
Facts.
have you? I mean, so like I know I mentioned like the ESPN NHL and stuff. Like, I feel like I don't know. Watching sports is so I don't know. It's weird now. Everything feels very. It's very little like. spontaneity in professional sports now. Like they all feel so regimented. Like you know what's gonna happen. NFL is getting a little bit crazier, I guess, but like the Chiefs, Bills. But I feel like that was just like that's never gonna happen with any other team. Like those two teams are just so insane.
As it being
Like the back, like that 13 second
I mean,
span.
it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, but that's not gonna
like
yeah, Bert, it doesn't matter if you suck. You can still play with us. Tony, Tony used to suck, and Tony is good now. How long it took you? Like a year and a half of like dedicated practice, right? Yeah. No, it just takes practice.
I definitely wouldn't say that I'm like.
I'd say you're good.
I definitely wouldn't say that I'm like good.
I'd say you're good. I got you.
Fine,
You're a lot better than like you
I've
always.
better. I definitely
Yeah. I've been very impressed with your development in golf. It's a joy now.
Joy for me too, Chuck.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, especially since we're the guys that are like first tee, like
I
your
mean,
joint or my joint first. I'm not really even a big drinker when I golf. Like it's all about the best golf you can ever play. Walking 9, your own joint, and a local like muni course to yourself. Best thing. Oh, it's the best thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the new name for
Oh, Washington Commanders?
what are your thoughts on the
On it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
What are your thoughts on that?
So one, still racist as hell. So not the name, but if you watch the little like hype video that they made for it, they say the R word. I don't know. We'll start saying the R word now because it is a racial slur. They say the R word like 5 or 6 times in it's like a 90-second video. And I'm like, okay. And they open up like with like saying the word. Like it's said within the first 10 seconds. So it's like Dan Snyder's telling his marketing team like put it in as much as possible before it gets like taken down. If Bird is still like, I think we got to get Bird's opinion. If he can throw in a text or a Facebook comment, like that is your team. So, but I think
definitely hear what you think about it.
So I will say this though, I don't hate the jerseys. I know like I've seen some hate. I think if it was like Red Wolves, I would like it better. But I don't like Commanders, so I don't like their uniform that goes with it. But I'm super happy because this is like the first team that's rebranded, being able to use other helmet colors. We should all be super excited because in 2022, we get alternate helmet colors back. People aren't talking about that enough.
That's true.
I am so
I
excited.
Don't really see what kind of helmet that.
The Bears.
I honestly don't see.
Well, you guys have
Bears. I don't really see them having an alternate. Like
it would have to be white or orange.
Yeah, we have like the old school. We have the old fashioned Michigan logo.
Right. That's a great look.
That before.
Great look, that one.
Yeah, but honestly, I really am a huge fan of the C.
Yeah, I mean they're both classic. Like that's the big thing.
Like I love that C logo.
Yeah. No, I mean it's all time classic look,
yeah.
But unless you guys did a blackout jersey.
Honestly, orange uni.
What was that?
We're not, dude. We have no reason for black. Honestly,
it would be cool.
If I got a chance to be able to get one of the jerseys, I would want to get an orange Devin Hester jersey.
Yeah, with the 3
That's
stripes
one
on the
I'd want
side.
to get.
Yeah, that'd
An
be a sick jersey.
old school Devin Hester jersey.
Devin Hester or something else, man. Don't kick it to Devin Hester.
Yep.
Do not kick it to Devin Hester. Don't do it. Never kick to Devin Hester. Don't do it.
Hey,
It's a
shout
bad
out to
idea.
Atlanta. They also
Don't kick to. Shout out to the U.
They're like, why did you even do that?
Anything you're looking forward to other than like the Super Bowl? Anything you're looking forward to other than the Super Bowl, sports wise?
You know what? Other than Super Bowl, I mean, honestly, it's really the one thing that's honestly on my mind, man. It's that I have a gig that we actually solidified. It's actually going to be on March 27th.
All right.
So
March,
I'll be
shoot
sending
me
out
a calendar.
about
Shoot me
that.
shoot me a calendar invite for that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Make sure to be able to have that.
We're gonna wrap things up here. Any other plugs or anything you just want the people to know about?
Let's see. I'm gonna be trying to perform. Gonna be getting if anything, a PA system. If not, if I could be able to get help from a DJ to do so, I will do that. But I'm going to be able to try to be able to get my Rat Pack experience out there to the people that are wanting to be able to listen to it, because I know for a fact that there's definitely a nice demographic that definitely wants to, and I can't be able to waste my time not doing it. So
Yeah,
it's got to be done.
All right. I don't have anything to plug as of yet. Really busy with OE and shit, but hopefully get some more of these podcasts.
Pine Tree Entertainment, right?
Well, Pine Tree Entertainment. Check us out. PineTreeMultimedia.com. If you have a podcast idea, we're developing systems here. As part of what this is, in all honesty, is giving it all a good try and doing it safely through Zoom and shit, which is why I need to upgrade my internet. So hopefully we'll be getting a golf one with Panda, actually. And then we have Black Rose Tattoo. You should check them out in Hudson, Massachusetts. They're going to be getting a new one, Overdone and Dry. They have a guest each week. And then we're going to be trying to start a scene up in the Upper Valley. We just posted a Hallelujah rendition from Brooks Hubbard that we filmed up in his garage, actually. And we'll be doing some more live music stuff.
Damn
as
good,
always.
by the way.
We should be setting up a Patreon, basically. I'm pretty sure that's the mode that I should be going on for all of these things. Because these per podcast would cost about $2,000 each to get them done right. So Patreon will be coming out if you want to donate, get these podcasts up the ground. Appreciate it. I think it's about it. All right, we'll see ya. Well, when we see ya, because we're all adults and I'll be in New York next week, so we'll see if we get another one off the ground. But Tony, it's always a pleasure, bud.
Absolutely, man.
All right.
Take care, everybody.